All right, well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. And this morning, I thought I'd do something that I haven't done in a very, very long time. And that's actually talk about silver. I've been having people private message me, and of course you can go on YouTube and look at some of my latest videos that people are clamoring for me to make a silver video. And, I said some time ago, matter of fact, years ago, I just about said everything that there is to say in order to try to convince people of what you need to do in order to make sound investments. Now, let me go ahead and make a disclaimer here. I am not a professional liar. I am not a professional bootlicker. I'm not the government. I don't sit up here and try to make you think that this is what you're getting when the truth is I've withheld all this information from you. And I've done everything I could to lie to you in order to profit from you, because the information I give is my own personal investment advice. That's what it is. So with that said, I'm not one of these brokers. I don't know why somebody would want to be. You have to understand, to be a broker, first of all, there's one thing that they realize. They are brokered in you, and they need your money in order to make money. So why would you go to a system that needs your money in order to make money and a lifestyle when you could simply just do what people have done a long, long time ago? It's obvious that the world that we're living in right now has already, we're past knee deep in the change. I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times over the years. You need to invest in yourself and those who you love. You need to actually develop some type of community to where you know who your neighbors are. And I'm sorry, but everybody in this world is simply just not trustworthy people. Why do people come to Pastor Dow? Why do people listen to Pastor Dow? First of all, number one, regardless of all the noise and regardless of all the mudslinging, regardless of all the slapstick comments, regardless of the disparaging comments I constantly receive, the accusing, the false witnesses, or whatever, regardless of whatever it is. There are a few intelligent people out there in the world that know truth and the voice of truth when they hear it. I mean, no good deed ever goes unpunished. And of course, I get that from, we all know the Messiah, Jesus Christ. He didn't do anything wrong. Not one solitary thing wrong. But what did his people, what did the Romans, the government of that time, what did the world do to him? They killed him. They murdered him. So what are they going to do to you for standing for truth? People love lies. And it's just the same thing here. I can make a video on something stupid and I'll get 2,000-3,000 hits within a day. I can make a video that's going to help you spiritually, because it's telling you, giving you direction for change. That thing barely even get 200-300 hits within 5 days, because that's just letting you know how foolish we are as a people. But silver, what do I think? 2016. I'm going to tell you what I've done in 2015, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 0. I'm going to tell you exactly what I've done. Buy it every single year. And of course, we are dealing with market manipulation. Silver is still a very, very serious undervalued asset. Personally, I wouldn't get into the stocks, ETFs. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it if it's still paper. And paper is worthless. Tangible assets. What do we see going on right here in the world? We're watching mines, zinc mines, copper mines. We're watching all of these particular mines that actually are for metals. We're watching them shut down all over across this globe, literally across this globe, being literally shut down. And they ain't coming back. And we're watching the market manipulation as the powers that be are doing everything they can. Some of you have already fell for it. You've already done started saying, you know what? I'm going to sell my silver and take a loss. And you sure did take a loss too. I told you, I said it years ago, silver is a long-term investment. Why? Because isn't there always quiet before the storm? I mean, there are certain things we need to pay attention to. For instance, we had Alan Greenspan, who was the Fed chair for a long, long time. I mean, an extraordinary amount of time. And then we had Ben Shalom Bernanke in there, and he was in there but a short period of time, and then they ended up sending Yeltsin in, this woman. They sent her in to back off everybody from putting a hammer down on Ben Shalom Bernanke, because every time his mouth moved, he was lying. Silver, what the problem we're running into, and the problem has already been done started in 2015 and 16 is this, is that there is a greater demand for it than supply. And if you go back and look at the numbers, silver has not stopped and has not slowed down far as people investing tangibly. You know, I often marvel because you remember when you drive down the road and you go in these cities and these pawn shops and everything, we buy gold, we buy gold. That's all you saw. That's all you saw. Now they say we buy gold and silver. You know, people out there that tend to know, for every 1 ounce of gold that they purchase 10 ounces of silver. And of course, and I'm not the man that believes in the government in any way, shape, fashion, or form, because you need to comprehend and understand history. Now, you can't comprehend history if you don't know it. And how do you know that you're making the same mistakes that has already been made in the past if you don't know history? You're not going to talk to this generation that is the satisfaction right now generation, this microwave generation. They don't want to invest in themselves, but they want everything. They don't want to do anything as far as educating themselves, but they want to sit back and have critical judgment on everybody else based on their own personal opinion that causes them to produce nothing. I've had people over the years that have listened to me. I had one man that has listened to me that actually paid off $80,000 worth of debt in 1 year. Sent me a message and said, thank you very much for you, because if it wasn't for that finger pointing, if it wasn't for that screaming and hollering and shouting, because the truth is, don't you think it's time to grow up? I mean, after all, if I'm screaming, if I'm hollering, I'm shouting, I'm pointing my finger, I'm doing it for a reason. But at the same time, why are you so offended? I'm on the other side of this camera. You're at your computer desk looking at me right now. I don't know nothing about your life, but what is it about your jacked up feelings and emotions that you get so upset at me for pointing my finger at you, for pointing out where you are falling short in life? The reason why you continue to keep making the same mistakes and you can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel because you will not change. I often heard it said around here, well, ain't nothing around here in this community but a bunch of old people. That's because the damn young people can't do nothing. They can't build a building. They can't provide a living. They can't do nothing. And they are thinking, because their mind thinks like this, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go out and do this. Oh, really? You are, huh? You probably could have done that 20, 30, 40 years ago. You ain't going to do that now. Everything in our world is service sector jobs. Everything is. Everything is. Do I have a lot of digressions right now? Yeah, because I'm trying to paint a picture for you that the world has changed. So now we're all being manipulated. We've been manipulated into thinking because gas prices are low and because silver prices are in a bear market and has literally almost hit rock bottom. And I'm telling you right now, I want you to listen to me. Silver hasn't stopped falling yet. And here's another thing. Tell me, why is it that when silver starts hitting 20, $25, $30, $35, $40 an ounce, why is it everybody always goes out and rush to buy it? But then when it's $17, $16, $15, $14 an ounce, you don't want to buy it. But you know what? The smart money, they are sucking it up, hook, line, and sinker. They are buying it left and right when it's cheap. You see, it shows you our conditioning process. It shows you how we think in this world. It shows you that all the education that you've got, you're still dumb as hell. Now, I hate to put it like that, but it's just the truth. Because, see, in function, you are functionally illiterate. That's basically, you really truly are. You're making the same mistakes as your people who have went on before you have made. And you're going to continue to keep doing it because you don't have time to read any books about history. You don't know about the Weimar Republic. You don't understand and comprehend what happens to a society when they fall to the conditions of Zimbabwe. You don't know what happened in the 30s with the United States of America and what they done with gold. You have no idea. And so when they manipulate you, when they sit up here and lie to you with a smile on their face because they are dealing with you very wisely. You understand that? The powers that be is not in their best interest to be transparent and to tell you the truth. You don't make money off of people by telling them the truth. You just don't do it. You don't do it. You see, you make the mistake of thinking that if you are an honest person, which you can't find too many people like that, you make the mistake of thinking that when you see somebody is smiling at you, sitting across, a desk in an office, that they are your buddy, your chum, your friend, and your pal. They're dealing with you wisely. The only thing, when they see you, the only thing they see is an opportunity in order to make money off of. That's all you are. It's all you are. The message is still the same. Get out of debt. Get out of debt. Do not sit up here and amass debt and then use the sorry excuse of the past. You see, you can tell that many of you, and I'm going to say it again, I'm going to pee you off. But if you don't like it, turn it down. You can tell that many of you haven't learned nothing in the past few years. You still are doing the same things again and again and again and again and again. You're going to continue to keep doing it. If you didn't know how to manage money 20 years ago, you ain't going to know how to manage it today. You know why? Because you're going to continue to keep making the same mistakes because you refuse to change this. If you didn't buy silver 20 years ago, watch this. Some of you have been listening to me for a long time. And let's say you've been listening to me since 2012. I guarantee that over 98% of you, be you in the ministry or not, I guarantee you that you haven't even purchased 50 ounces of silver. You know why? Because you don't believe the message. But what you do believe is you expect people like me and people who have paid attention to the message. You expect us to be able to take care of you. You expect us to be able to provide for you. That's what you expect of us because of our intelligent choices and decisions. And I'm telling you, it's just simply not going to happen. It's simply, the Bible even talks about 5 wise and 5 foolish. It talks about the parable of the 10 talents. Yes, it does. It talks about, I can go on and on and on. Which one are you? You see, in function, you're illiterate. Today we can read and we still can't comprehend. It's amazing. So anyway, I had to develop all that and say all that to tell you exactly what's going on. Do I expect silver to ever go over $50 an ounce? Sure it will. It's going to go farther than that. I actually expect, and this is my conservative estimate, I expect silver, and I'm using a very conservative number right here. I expect silver to go over $400 an ounce. I know that the system is shaking the monkeys out of the tree. Every single time they drop the price of stuff, they're hoping that most you give up. And guess what? Many of you do. You sell it, and guess who's there to buy it? Investors. And you can see the records continue to keep showing over and over again how that there's a greater demand than there is supply. You don't know, but I tell you what, when you start seeing the bond market, you start seeing these interest rates, you start seeing war, you start seeing a lot of these things that's going on in this world right here, especially some of these false flags. You better believe that commodities are going higher. You better believe it is. Because, you know, the rich make profit in war. They make profit in war. When it comes to the silver market, the supply is shrinking very, very fast. I mean, I think the last word that I heard was, in the history of mankind, there has literally been 5 billion ounces of gold, somewhere along in there. But look at the stock market. Look at the paper. You know, they have the stock market 10 times inflated based on the real, true, tangible asset that is right in front of our eyes. And they say within the history of mankind, 5 billion ounces of gold has actually been mined out of the earth. Watch this. Watch this. And then they say 1 billion ounces of silver has probably been mined. Now, I could stand to be corrected. I don't mind being correct. I could. Telltale signs is pay attention to mining. I mean, really, truly pay attention. If you hear it in the news about mines shutting down and stuff, pay attention, because some of you just ain't gonna hear it. I'm up here. What I'm doing is I'm a sounding brass. I'm a tinkling cymbal. My advice, what I would do, is keep bare minimum amount of money in the bank. I would buy, if I could afford it, I would buy a silver coin every week. I would. I wouldn't trust anything that the news media is putting out or the newspaper. Nothing. Tangible assets. You know, before many of you even think about, you do need silver. You really, truly do. But before you even think about that, how many of you actually have food stored up in your home? How about water? I mean, have any of you purchased a big Berkey or a Life Straw? Anything that you can actually filter? Charcoal. Water. Because you can see that they're polluting the water supply. They literally killing us in this world. Literally killing us. But if every time you go out here, you go to work, and then you turn around, your check is being absorbed by debt because of the lust of your flesh that you keep making excuses for, and you haven't learned to deal without. You haven't learned. Most of you don't even know what sacrifice is. None whatsoever at all. And much less, I doubt even 1% of you out there could actually make the moves that I made. Mind you, I was in the green when I started making these moves. We talking about in the late 90s. You understand what I mean? It was like 95, 96 that I started making moves in order to develop this community. Was I on this community? No, I started making moves. It took me some time. I got out of debt. That's how I can tell you to get out of debt. And you can't do this by yourself. You can't do this by yourself. Everything that we have ever gotten in this world, it's all been given to us. Even if you work for it, it's still been given to you. So you've got a lot of changing right here to do. We are repeating the same mistakes of the past, and we're going to continue to keep repeating it. What more do you say? Because you still just ain't going to do it. I mean, your mind. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's just it. Anyway, I hope I said something that you would actually hear. I really, truly do. But as for me, I'm going to continue to keep purchasing silver as I am able to. I really, truly am. And you know what I'm going to finish this video on this. You know what one of the greatest things that many of you miss out on? You know, there's a law, a principle in this world. It works throughout the cosmos, no matter where you may be. That principle is this: it is more blessed to give than to receive. You know how many people are actually happy to give to me because they'll follow my advice about getting out of debt. And now when they go to work and they come home and they have their paycheck, you know, their paycheck is spent bare minimum on, you know, in Canada they call it a hydro bill. We call it an electric bill here in the United States of America. Some of them have actually even, instead of falling into this mortgage debacle, they follow my advice and rent rather than get more. Well, Pastor, you rent, you're throwing it away. Not like you have it in mortgage. You ask all these people who thought that they had, it's utterly amazing me. They thought that they, look at this, owned a home. And they missed a few payments and the bank come called on their mortgage because they have been deceived into thinking that they owned the home. Matter of fact, they even call you home owners when you go out there and get $200,000 and $300,000 and $400,000 in debt, and you have to pay on the thing 30 years, 15 years, and you still think you are a home owner. Oh man, I must think outside the box. I just do. You're better off, and you will be more happy. Believe it or not, you actually are more happy with less than you are with more. You truly are. You are actually more, but most of you would never know. But can you imagine if you went out here and bought an acre of land, even if it took you a year or two to pay for it, and then you just moved a camper trailer or something like that on and start developing, you won't believe what you would sense inside your spirit, because you have a sense of ownership. So if the whole economy collapses and stuff, guess what? You have a place. You don't owe no man nothing. Commodities, you know, guns, bullets, food, water, shelter, silver, gold. I mean, think about it. Think about it. We live in a world now where everything is an illusion. We call paper money, and we call ironclad slugs coins. Is that not what Rome did? No, you don't know what Rome did. You know the reason why you don't know what Rome did? Because you don't know history. That's the reason why, and that's why you continue to keep making the same mistakes. I hope, and I'm not mocking you, I hope that some way, somehow, just in this simple video right here, that you would actually take heed to what I've said, change your course. But if not, it's none of my business. All your doubts, all your fears, they belong to you. You are the one that's feeling them, not me. They rest between you and the Creator, or whoever you want of it. But you can point fingers all day long and still don't change the situation. You want to be wise? I think the best thing to do is listen to a wise man. Shalom.